Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make the best cinnamon rolls you've ever had. And I know that's a bold claim, but hear me out. Not only are these very easy to make, they have that rare, wonderful quality where they only look complicated or difficult, and because they're baked in a muffin tin, they're already pre-portioned out. The braiding makes it so that every bite has the same amount of cinnamon and sugar, and you never get a huge chunk of unsweetened or overcooked dough. And by the way, you don't need to destroy them with powdered sugar like I did. I just got a little bit overexcited filming something in slow motion. Speaking of excited, the channel's closing in on 10,000 subscribers, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more homemade food. Let's get started. You'll need a stand mixer with a dough hook and whichever attachment you like for creaming butter and sugar together. If you have one of those self-scraping beaters, those work great. You can knead the dough by hand if you don't have a stand mixer, but I told you these were easy, so I'm going the easy way. You'll also need a rolling pin and either a bench scraper or an offset spatula to spread the brown sugar and filling, and to cut the dough cleanly. For the dough, you'll need 100 grams of butter, 5 grams of yeast, 100 grams of milk, 25 grams of brown sugar, 1 large egg, and 300 grams of flour. I'm using all-purpose. For the filling, you'll need 75 grams of butter, 125 grams of brown sugar, and about a tablespoon of cinnamon. You can use more or less depending on how much you like cinnamon, but I like mine to be in the cinnamon toast crunch region, so I'm using closer to 2 tablespoons. Another option is to change up the spices. These taste good with nutmeg and a little ground clove for a more cinnamon spice roll, or you could swap the cinnamon out for cocoa powder and a tiny bit of instant coffee and maybe make a chocolate version instead. With this much butter and sugar, it's practically impossible to make things taste bad, so try experimenting a little. Get started by adding all of your dough ingredients to a stand mixer fitted with a dough hook. A reminder, that was 100 grams softened butter, 5 grams of yeast, 100 grams of milk, 25 grams of brown sugar, and 300 grams of all-purpose flour. I like to start with the egg to make sure that I don't have bits of shell in the bowl, then the 100 grams of milk, then the 25 grams of brown sugar, then the 5 grams of yeast. If you want to bloom your yeast to make sure it's still alive, now's the time to do it. If your yeast isn't dead, add 100 grams of softened butter and 300 grams of all-purpose flour, then start mixing. You want to start on low until enough of the flour is hydrated that turning it up won't cause a giant dust cloud, then gradually bring it up to medium and leave it there for 8 minutes. When it's done, turn it out onto a countertop and stretch it into a ball. The dough should be pretty easy to work with dry hands, and it should stretch apart without tearing if you form it into a ball. Place the dough into a floured bowl and put it somewhere warm to proof for 45 minutes to an hour, or until it's doubled in size. While that proofs, let's make the cinnamon butter filling. Clean out your mixing bowl, then add 125 grams of brown sugar, 75 grams of softened butter, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Swap your dough hook out for a whisk attachment, or if you have one of those self-scraping paddles, those work great too. Mix on medium to high for a few minutes to cream the butter and sugar together, using a spatula to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl as needed. Once it's finished, scrape the sides and form it into a ball for later. The filling only took 5 minutes to make, so go have a coffee and relax for 40 minutes while we wait for the dough to rise. Told you these were easy. Once risen, turn your dough out dry side down onto a countertop and work it into a rectangular shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, as you can kind of stretch and shape things in a later step, but take your time and try to get around 18 inches wide by maybe 8 to 10 inches tall. If you're struggling with the ends sticking out too far, try rolling a little more dough from the center, then roll up and down to use that dough and widen the ends. When you're happy with the shape of your dough, get your cinnamon filling and do not put it on yet. Look how stiff this is. Go microwave this for 10 seconds, maybe put the bowl into a bowl of warm water, put it in your proofing oven, do whatever you have to do. Once it's slightly warmed, Spread your cinnamon butter mixture evenly across the dough, going right to the edges. You can use whatever tool you like for this, but since I'm going to need it for the next step anyways, I'll be using a bench scraper. Now fold the bottom 2/3 up onto itself, and while you're doing this step, you can stretch the corners out to be a little more square if you need to. Do the same thing from the top, folding the last 1/3 onto the top layer, then lightly press it down to make sure there's no trapped air bubbles. Now that we've effectively got a log of uncooked cinnamon pastry, you can either eyeball it like I usually do, or measure how long it is and divide it by 12. If you want them perfect, you would need this to be 18 inches long, so that you divide them by 12, and they're 1.5 inches of dough for every portion. Mine was 16 inches, so I decided to do 11 instead of 12, giving me 1.45 inches of dough per pastry. Realistically, I'm only measuring for the video, and I would just eyeball it into 12 even pieces if I was making this otherwise. You do whatever you want to do. Mark and cut your cinnamon log into rectangles, get a muffin tin ready, and if you didn't grow up with a sister, you're about to learn how to braid things. Watch closely. Lightly stretch your cinnamon rectangles, they're a little longer, then place them on a countertop and lightly press down. This helps flatten them and keep them in place. Cut the dough into 3 strips, leaving about 10% or so at the top connected. Pull the strips apart and bring the right side across the middle. Lift the middle, then bring the left side over what was previously the right side and under the middle, then repeat until you run out of dough. Pinch the 3 ends together, then roll the dough onto itself and place it into the muffin tin. This first piece wasn't the best example, so I'll let you watch me do it a couple of times. Stretch the dough out so it's a little longer, cut it into 3 strips, and place it into a T shape. Bring the right side over, lift the middle, bring the left side under, drop the middle, and repeat this pattern where every time a strip of dough crosses over, it goes over the first strip and under the second. When you get to the end, pinch them together and roll the dough onto itself. And if my instructions weren't clear enough, just watch what I'm doing on screen, because this was kind of hard to explain. Here it is a few more times from a different angle. It's kind of like tying shoelaces. The first time you try it, it's really confusing, but once you've done it a few times, it just becomes second nature. When you've filled your muffin tin, put it back in a warm oven to proof for 40 to 60 minutes. They probably won't expand a great deal, but the second proof really helps give the inner windings of the dough a nicer airy texture. Mix an egg and a 1/4 cup of milk together, then brush it onto your dough. The dough will soak up any excess while it bakes and turn into a beautiful golden brown top, so don't be afraid to use a lot. These are going into a 350-degree oven for 16 minutes, and I'd advise you put a drip tray under them just in case. They're usually not too messy, but sometimes a corner overflows and it's a lot easier to clean a pan than a whole oven. Every oven's a little different, and everyone likes their cinnamon rolls more or sometimes less done, so time here is going to range from maybe 14 to 20 minutes. You can see the telltale signs that mine are done from the golden brown top and the caramelized sugar from the filling. Let these cool for a few minutes before trying to remove them from the tray. You really want to wait long enough for the melted butter and sugar to set, since the last thing you want in your skin is molten cinnamon sugar liquid, so try to be patient. Because these are all woven together, they're pretty easy to get out of the pan intact. Once they're cool enough to handle, I like using a curved rubber spatula to detach any caramelized sugar, then gently lift them onto a cooling rack. Usually when I think of a cinnamon roll, I think of something covered in a giant gob of cream cheese frosting. While you could ice these like cupcakes, I think they're a perfect balance of sweet and cinnamon just as they are. If you want them a little sweeter, you could make a thin powdered sugar and milk glaze, or just dust them in powdered sugar. Let me know in the comments how yours turned out. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and maybe check out one of the videos on screen now. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more homemade food.